Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the premiere of the I Voted for Pedro Show with my co-host Pete Bird, Pete D. Bird on Twitter, and Niners DNA on YouTube. And he goes by Pedro, and so I thought it'd be fun to do sort of a Napoleon Dynamite riff for the show. And so here we are. Pedro, how are you doing on this fine victory Monday?
I am feeling fine. Very, very good, Ted. Thank you very much. I actually watched Napoleon Dynamite on the weekend. So really, really, really good title. Love the title. I think it was Randy that came up with this title for us. So yeah,
Randy
look,
Daytona. That's right.
Randy Daytona, yeah. I'm ready to crown this king. I'm ready to crown him. He is the man. And I've got to admit some things about me. I was a Shanahan doubter. I didn't think he could. I just think he's been waiting for the right quarterback, and I think he found him. So, and I agree. Don't bother me. I agree. It's one game at a time, right? But what I saw yesterday was a quarterback playing with supreme confidence, supreme levity in terms of his anticipation with his throws. I saw the defense on fire. I just saw a football team that is in a very, very, very good space and playing for each other. So, yeah, it's only week 5, but, you know, damn it, like it's ours to lose, mate. It's ours to lose.
Here's Randy now, the
Hey, Randy.
inventor of the show name. Welcome, Randy. We have you to thank or blame for this, however you want to look at it. I was thinking of something with like Uncle Rico, but like
Uncle
Federico
Rico.
wouldn't have been quite as good. So this was definitely the optimal solution. Real quick, don't bother me. Steven and I met on Saturday morning. Breezy and John Chapman had a meetup Saturday morning from 9 to noon, and we were filming a new music video for Wayne Breezy. Like, so faithful to the Bay. It was sort of the hook. And so you guys will see that coming out soon. But I met Steven there. I also met Mose, who was in town for the game, and also Terradome, who I've been beefing with a lot, and his lovely wife. So that was really nice. Always good to meet someone that you have like sort of online beef with. It helps to sort of smooth things over, at least understand where the other one's coming from a little bit better. And like you, I'm ready to crown Purdy. I mean, I kind of half-assed did it last week where I said, we hadn't played any contenders and maybe all playoff pretenders. But now the Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-2, and they beat them and had one of the best defenses coming into this, one of the better offenses coming into this game. They certainly were looking like a contender. They may not end up being one, but I counted them as one for this game. So yeah, super excited for that. We got Jason Smash Massey in the house. Niner Smash Massey says Talofa Faithful. That's his usual greeting. He also has a YouTube channel, so everybody make sure and check him out. We've got Ted and Pedro. There we go. They're saying hi to each other. Saying hi to Jason and saying hello. There we go. Steven just got off work. Outstanding. Welcome to he was on my earlier show too, so he must have been catching that one from work, Steven. Nice. I had Greg, Cowboys Greg on, who I had on last Monday, and he came on. He was very gracious. He is saying basically he's seen enough of Dak Prescott and time for a change, he thinks, in Dallas. He doesn't think that that'll do it, which is kind of interesting because obviously Cooper Rush would probably be next up, but not far behind, and probably not far behind for long. Obviously, Trey Lance waiting in the wings in Dallas. So that could add to some interesting developments for sure. But at this point, we can't really worry about that. We have to say Kyle made the right choice. For sure for starting QB. I still have some doubts about Darnold. Like if Darnold, yeah, exactly. If God forbid something happens to Brock Purdy, I don't have much faith in Darnold. That's when I might be a little mad at Kyle. But just like you said, yeah, he's just been waiting for the right QB, and it looks like we have the right QB. I mean, I said all offseason, you probably heard me say it, like, Andy Reid was Kyle until Kyle passed on Patrick Mahomes. And so, I'm not saying that Purdy is Patrick Mahomes, certainly not from a physical perspective, as far as arm strength and size and all that. But I think we're just the processing, and the footwork, it might really actually be there. I mean, I think Purdy is elite in the, intangibles and in quickness. And that might just be enough. That might just be enough. I had him, as you probably know, after the Giants, I had him at 11 to 15 in the league, and then after the Cards, I bumped him up to 8 to 12. Now I've got him more like 6 to 9 in the league. Is sort of where I see him. Does that sound about right to you, Pedro?
Yeah,
Or
that
what
sounds
do you
that
think?
sounds perfect. That sounds perfect. Um, I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of the intangibles. He doesn't obviously have the those quick flicks that Mahomes has. He does have to load up some, but like what he lacks in some of that arm strength, he makes up for in here. So I don't know if you like if you're a fan of JT O'Sullivan, but I really like his content. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, did
and
he already do his review for last
he's
night?
already done a review, right? And I looked at this
Because they're
morning, and
bestsellers. That's why. It's
oh,
probably the first one he
100%.
does every week.
Yeah, and
Now I need to check that out.
yeah, check it out because that throw that he missed on Ayuk, because I was getting a little bit worried. I was like, "Oof, that's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit behind and stuff like." But when JT breaks it down, you can see that he is he is throwing the ball before, and Ayuk is still on his route going towards the sideline before he cuts in, right for the I forget what it's called, but anyway, it's almost like a post. Um, and the ball's out of his hand before he even turns. And so, it's just, and that ball over the middle, those balls over the middle to the numerous guys that he got. I love the use of use check as well. So yeah, you're right, man. His intangibles, and I think he makes up for his lack of arm strength. And I'm not saying he doesn't have a weak arm, but he just doesn't have a strong. He doesn't have a cannon like Josh Allen, right? So, but his footwork in his head is just almost, almost.
It reminds me of the old A1 commercials. I don't know if you got them down under. It's a steak sauce, and they would show the bottle and the sauce about to pour out, and it'd say, "Anticipation. It's
Yeah,
making
yeah,
me
yeah,
ready." This is kind of the opposite. It's like anticipation is keeping our receivers from having to wait because he's anticipating where they're going to be and throwing it with anticipation, which is what you really want to see in an elite quarterback. That's definitely an elite mindset. That's the only reason I'm not crowning Purdy as like a fully elite QB. Like I said, I still think he's limited arm, limited height, limited top speed. I'm just saying, may not matter. Man, it's not looking like it's going to matter
no,
with
no.
how good he was against the Cards. And then last night was just like a masterpiece for sure. Real quick one. Um, Jason Smash Matthews asked me if did I meet TJ at the video shoot. Is that Tyler? I met Tyler for sure, and we follow each other on Instagram now. I think that's who you met. He's an artist, but a musician, artist, whatever you want to call it, rapper. I don't know what the best terminology for him is, but I think that's who you met. If that is, I definitely met him. We hung out some, and like I said, yeah, we're following each other on Instagram now. I don't think he's on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it these days. Rod Callie in the house, and what up, Ted? What a game last night! Yeah, incredible. I had done that sort of apology last week, or I was wrong, but I said, but we haven't played any pretenders and maybe or any contenders and maybe only playoff pretenders. Last night I said, forget all that. I was wrong. No qualifiers. And this morning I said, I apologize to Brock. He is a franchise QB. I think when you say someone's 6 to 9 in this league, it's not quite elite. I have 1 to 5 is elite. 6 to 9 is franchise. and you're not like looking for a quarterback at that point. You're basically like, hey, as long as this guy's healthy, we're riding with Brock. So that's where I am. So Rod will probably be happy to hear that, because he was talking about me on a show and someone told me about it. So I'm like, hey, come on my show, let's talk about it. And he did. Great sport, great guy, great design work. If anybody needs design help, check out Rod's. He usually did a cool one for Ayuk, I think was one of his more recent ones. It was really cool out there. So let's see, then people are following. Jason Smash Massey is Niners Faithful Radio. We got that a couple times here with Brandon Ferrigno. And then let's see here. They followed each other. That's great. I appreciate it. So he's asking if Steven has a channel. Don't bother me, Peach is my screen name. It's a cooking channel. That's right. We talked about that too. I was saying how I've been wanting to kind of do a TED Talks Grub spinoff at some point of TED Talks Ball, because I was like, not a football fan, and even less of them are 49ers fans, but everybody eats.
That's right.
So, and clearly I eat a lot, right? It's obvious. So, and I know good food. Like when I give a recommendation, like when I'm like, this can't miss, it definitely, if you like that type of food, you're going to love it. That's just the way it goes, for sure. Where am I in Cali? General? Yeah, I'm in Mid Peninsula near Palo Alto. So just a few miles north of Levi's, maybe 10, 15 miles north of Levi's. Kind of right in the midpoint between San Francisco and San Jose, essentially. No shame in wanting to make sure Brock is the one. Honestly, it's still early, but damn, he's checking the boxes twice over. Yeah. And like when I said I was wrong, I was, especially when I said mid. But like I said, I've been upgrading from mid since the Giants game, Cards game, and last night. But also, like, Purdy's played way better in the Cards game and Cowboys game. Like this, he was not this good last year. I'm sorry, he wasn't.
He was not this good. He was
Yeah.
no way this good. Hit the balls he was throwing. Oh man, like he dropped one. He dropped one over the linebacker's head into Ayuk's hand. Was it Ayuk? I'm just trying to think of it. I think it was the third quarter. It was like a second and 6 or something like that, and it just dropped. It was just it was to third and 1, and it was just a beautiful ball. And the thing that I want to mention to you, Ted, is that just how open our receivers. You don't see Brock throwing into tight coverage, right? When Dak was throwing, 70% of the time he's throwing into coverage, right? And it's got to be right on the bucket, right on the numbers. Ayuk's open. What's up, Shah?
Anshul Shah has his own show. Make sure everybody likes and subscribes there to Anshul. Also, real quick, just want to say we're streaming to both channels. If you're on TED Talks Ball, make sure you get over to Niners DNA. Give Pete a like and subscribe over there. If you're on a browser, open up 2 tabs. You can watch at the same time. Just make sure to mute one, or even phone and a tablet. It really helps us to get more view hours. So thanks in advance for that. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
But yeah, just the scheme that Kyle is dialing up, and again, I've got to admit my, I guess I would say pig-headedness over the years. I mean, I know that last year when Trey went down in the Seahawks game, I was livid. And I was like, fire him, get this guy out of here. But that was just that was emotional. I was really a sort of one-track minded on the Trey and stuff. But once Kyle has got his system, he's not his system quarterback, but his franchise quarterback in play. He's in his bag, and he is creating really, really, really nice football to watch. And it's just a pleasure. It's just a pleasure to be a fan of this team right now.
Yeah, it's incredible to watch. Couldn't be happier. Like I said, I'd always rather be happy than right. And, it makes me happy to have a good QB like Brock, one that, we can count on. And where when he drops back, it's like more often than not, you just feel like things are going to go really well. Instead of Jimmy, where we just felt like, oh God, what's going to happen next?
Well, that's the thing. we're about to see that, right? So what time is it over there for you? It's like 3:15, 3:20, right? And so what I don't know what
Yes, we got
time
about
on
2 hours to kick off.
yeah, yeah. Um, so anyway, I don't know. There's already Raiders fans down here that are calling for the rookie to get called in. So they've got their problems. Did I just see he helped him lose 175 pounds?
I was going to say that's the kind of cooking shows I need to be watching. I
That's
could
yeah.
drop.
I'm the same. I'm the same.
I need to drop about 75, about half of that, or maybe or the 75 anyway, to get me down. That would get me down to about 240, which would be a great.
right.
So I could look more like a linebacker instead of a nose tackle, ideally.
So, you agree with everyone in terms of the way Fred Warner played yesterday, that he was the best player on the field in some respects?
Yeah, it was crazy that PFF didn't even have him on the list. I thought that was wild.
Really?
But yeah, no. Coach Yak posted up the list of the top folks from the game, and I thought it was easy to find, but here I am scrolling. Anyway, I know it's from today, so yeah, but it was interesting to me that Fred wasn't on there. I guess it just shows that PFF isn't always 100% right. Here we go. Oren Burks 94.6, Nick
Aaron
Bosa
Burks.
91. Oren Burks, yeah, because he had that interception late in the game,
Yeah. I mean,
and
the
special
interception.
teams.
Yeah.
And then Bosa 91.2, Lenore 84.7, Greenlaw 81.2, and Kinlaw 70. I mean, I like all the people. I just like fit Fred in there. But hey,
So
these things aren't exact.
no, no. Aaron Banks only has a mild shoulder strain, by the way. And Drake Jackson only got the wind knocked out of him. So that's a couple of injury updates from today as well.
Yeah, I was really happy to hear about Banks being day to day. I mean,
Yeah.
Feliciano filled in well, but I didn't want to see him against that Browns D line that's pretty fearsome with Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith, and I don't know their tackles very well, but maybe I'll look it up while we're talking here. But that would be I definitely want our best O line in place, because that Browns defense, they're going into this weekend.
Oh, it's
We're
legit.
leading the league in the lowest. I mean, like the top D's were like 1,100 yards in there. We were like 1,100, and they're like 700 and change allowed this year. And they're also not only that, but the Browns were cross-referenced, not just leading in yards allowed, but also in scoring allowed. They were top 2 or 3 in that as well too. So that makes a powerful defense, in my opinion. Other notable, the Cowboys were up in the top 2 and 3 for yards and scoring, but they played some anemic offenses,
Yeah.
right? They played the
Yeah.
Giants, they played the Jets, they played the Pats. And then also the Chiefs were kind of a surprise to see their defense. I knew the Chiefs was playing D was playing well, but I didn't think they were like top 5 in yards and scoring well. That's impressive to me, or surprising, if you will.
So just going back
So
to what
let's see.
just
Yeah,
mentioning
go ahead.
oh sorry. Oh, okay, sorry. We just mentioned Drake Jackson. So we haven't talked since they signed Randy Gregory, right? So
Yep.
so some of the commentary I've heard, Ted, is that it's an indictment of Drake, that he hasn't come on, that in the fashion that the team would wanted him to. What's your thought? Tell me what do you think of that?
I don't think he's that good. I
Drake
think
Jackson.
he's just a very low risk, high reward type of signing. we switched 6th and 7th round picks, which if we're at the end of the 6th and they're at the beginning of the 7th, it might only be one or two or a few spots difference for the pick. So I think he'll be helpful, but I don't think he'll take Drake Jackson out. I just think it's more depth. That's all I
Oh,
think.
okay. So sorry, you're saying that you were saying that you think Drake Jackson is better than Randy Gregory?
Yeah,
Yeah, right. Well, that's interesting. I mean, I must say that my D my defensive end and defensive unit knowledge would not be as good as yours. But yeah, some of the things I was hearing, and I think it was more so from well, what's his name? He does a show with Grant. He's got Rob
Ryan,
Stats
Jesse.
Guerrero.
Oh,
No,
Rob Stats
Guerrero.
Guerrero. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's really
yeah.
good.
He was saying that that he thought that Drake. They didn't think that Drake was as good as he could be, so that's why they brought in Randy Gregory. So you think it's the other way around?
Yeah, I mean, I think Randy Gregory. It's hard to tell. He's missed games due to smoking pot and stuff like that. But
Really?
his best ever season was 6 sacks. And that was a few years ago. To me, that's just not that impressive.
No.
Um, I feel like Drake could do that this season. I mean, obviously he already had the three, but even without those three, I could see him getting 4 or 5 more this season.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I hope he proves me wrong. I hope Randy Gregory turns out to be better, but I think
Yeah.
it was more just a depth. I think he's just better than Hyder. Is really who I think he's better
Yeah.
than. Who we
Yeah.
got rid of.
Yeah.
I think it's like I said, low risk, potentially high reward.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's long pause and has good bend, but and he's good at like stripping balls. Pause. um, I guess it'll be interesting to see, but yeah, my gut reaction is I think Drake, if not now, soon Drake will be better.
Okay. Good. What what if any um weaknesses do you see within this unit?
Same as always, right tackle, right guard, nickel corner.
Yeah.
So Burford, McKivitz, Isaiah Oliver, Ambry Thomas. Although Ambry had a nice hit last night where he just heard
Yeah.
the stick. It's like it
Yeah.
was real nice and loud. I was almost worried the way he got up if he hurt himself, but he was all
Yeah.
right. Um, but yeah, those are it. I mean, I would love if we could get a great corner. I would
Yeah.
love if we could get a really great defensive end, like what a lot of people are trying to make it like Randy Gregory is.
Yeah.
Um, or a great right tackle. But this team seems to be. I mean, now the defense is playing really well. So that was my surprise from last night, was to see the defense really show up so well to force the fumble and the interceptions, and um, it was impressive.
Well, you know what I think has happened, Ted, is that our secondary has improved because of Wilkes. Wilkes is a secondary guy.
Yeah,
And I just think that, it was a pretty good hire from Carl's perspective because yeah, our secondary and Nick Bosa mentioned it in his his post game podium presser that he said the well, he called him the back end took care of business. And so that, that when that starts to happen, especially, I was when we signed Shavarius Ward, I was like, wow, this is the guy that we've needed. And I've just found him to be lacking a little bit in some stage. I think he gets beat a little bit sometimes on some routes. But that's okay. But yeah, I think Steve Wilkes has done a great job in getting that secondary playing in sync with each other.
no doubt. Yeah, he's doing a really good job. We were getting more pressures. Bosa got the sack. It was great to see. And I had said that I thought we'd start to see Bosa come together now that, he's kind of playing himself into game shape. So that's not super surprising. obviously, Hargrave paying dividends,
Oh,
Armstead, one of the top rated D linemen. It was funny. There was a stat last week where it showed the 5 highest rated D linemen for week 4, and it was Bosa, Armstead, Hargrave, Demarcus Lawrence, and Micah Parsons. So, um, just the fact that we were able to keep them limited and come away with a huge win. I mean, I don't think like this is the end of the Cowboys or anything like that. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, we, took their souls or, crushed their spirit or things like that." I would hesitate to go there or say anything like that. But it was a great game, a big win, and we won. We won the battle, right? I think if we play them again in the playoffs, it could look very different. But for now, I'm super happy, and it was just what I was waiting to see from Purdy. I wanted to see him play an elite defense, and I do believe the Cowboys are an elite defense. And man, they made them. It's starting to make me believe a little more in the Steelers' defense because if you're just that great on offense, you can make a really good defense look bad. And obviously,
yeah,
then the Steelers beat the Ravens. Their D looked
that's right.
good.
With their defense, with their defense.
Now they're potentially a playoff team. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Largely, I mean, their offense is pretty anemic. But then this is like the first really good defensive showing for us since week 1 because we struggled a little against the Rams, a little bit against the Cards. Even the Giants had their moments where they got it within striking. I think at one point it was 17-12.
Yeah,
Um, so just a complete, thorough tail whooping. You know, offense, defense, and special teams. I don't know if I said it with you on Monday, but I was definitely saying by later in the week that I thought it would be Kittle would have a big game, and sure enough, 3 catches, 3 TDs. So I got to pull some of those clips from my shows and make those into shorts. But
yeah.
I had a busy day so far. I haven't had a chance to do that yet.
Did you see? Did you see the presser from Dak and from McCarthy?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it was. So in terms of what you were saying before, in regard to the soul crushing and all that sort of stuff, um, yeah, I don't think it was that, but so the vernacular, the language they were using, Ted, was punch in the mouth, punch in the gut, humbling. He thought it was. Dak said, he thought the Arizona game was humbling, but he said that yesterday's loss. This is coming from Dak Prescott. Yes, thank you, Don't bother. What's I don't like that. What is the gentleman's name?
Don't bother me, Steven.
Steve. Thanks, Steve. And he said that was the most humbling game he's been a part of. And Dak Prescott's, he's a ball player. I wouldn't call him a baller, but he's a ball player, and for for Brock Purdy and the boys to be doing that, it's just one of the things that concerned me a little bit in the first quarter was the patting down of the passes, and that obviously talks to Purdy's height. But again, like he just proved to get around that by getting the ball out quicker, by the protection being better, and yeah, whenever I seem to think, there's the chink in the armor, it closes up. It almost like it's almost like magically the wound or the chink gets healed. So yeah, I'm almost lost for superlatives, really.
No, it's starting to get to the point of like, okay, we're the greatest team right now. Now you start to go back into history, then and look at like, are we better than the '94 team?
That's the question. What do
Are
you
we
think?
better than the? I'm not ready to say that yet, just
Yeah,
because they won the Super Bowl and they did it, and and they had to beat the Cowboys to get there, which may be more like being the Eagles this year. But yeah, it's definitely getting to that point where we have to start making those kind of comparisons. I mean, just the offense to be averaging nearly 35 points a game, that's wild. I mean, because last year when we averaged the 33, I was like, yeah, but it's bad and banged up defenses. Let's see what happens against better Ds and better teams, over a longer period of time. And granted, it's only been 5 games, but it's been a heck of a 5 games. And even the stats that I listed in my, saying I was wrong at least through 4 games, now they're going to look even better. Like, I mean, Purdy was already better than 2016 Matt Ryan so far this season. Now it is only going to widen the gap in that. So it's pretty wild to see what's happening. And I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to admit I'm wrong. I'm happy to apologize. I do, like, for Kyle, I still want us to win the Super Bowl before I apologize to Kyle, because if Purdy gets injured and we have to see Darnold, I don't have faith in that. But as far as Brock goes, if he keeps playing like this, I don't know how you can fault him if we don't. And it's not his fault if he keeps playing like this.
Yeah. And sorry, I'll shift left a little bit. Thinking about the Eagles and how did you watch the Eagles versus the Rams?
Yeah. Yep.
It wasn't a stampede.
No.
Stafford did his usual second half slowdown after the Eagles defense adjusted, and having Cup back with Puka Nacua, I thought was going to be, obviously add that string to their offense. I think on the first drive, which was a touchdown, he targeted Cup 7 out of the 10 times. So, he went straight back to 2022 workings with Cup. So, and they, the Eagles didn't beat them by a huge margin, and it looked like they had the game in control. But that just talks again more to me in terms of the way that, because I was like, whoa, hang on, what's happening here with the Rams? These guys aren't supposed to be this good, and the Eagles again, not being in a super amount of trouble, but they had to work to win that game, and it's another feather in I guess the wins in the win column for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, like, you get into these things of like, oh, we beat so and so by so many points, and you only beat them by so many, but then the Cowboys beat the Giants by so much more than we did, but obviously we just beat the Cowboys. So, I think the Rams are a pretty good team. They're 2-3. I said 5-12 before the season started. They're seeming like they're a little better than that. Like 2-3 if you stretch it out, say like 3 times. So 6. I don't know. You get basically 6 losses. So you're gonna look at like 11-7 maybe for the season, or 11-6, something like that for the Rams, which is better than I thought. I don't think. Oh no, wait, no. I got that wrong, because they're 2-3, so it would be more like, no, they would have a losing record, which is sort of what I thought. I thought 5-12, but I don't think they'll make the playoffs the way they're set up. And when they were getting Cooper Kupp back, I was saying, like, yeah, Cooper Kupp is a great wide receiver, but Puka Nacua was doing a lot of what Cooper Kupp does before he got back. And there's only one position like that for the Rams, that slot position, and having 2 guys, it helps, but not as much as you'd think. It's not just like you get Puka plus Cooper. It's like you just get a little bit, whatever Cooper does a little bit better. So it's not like the same, what a lot of people would think looking at that injury return type of thing.
How do you feel about the right side of the O-line after this game? I think it improved, Steve. I think it improved. I think McKivitz is learning. He's getting better. He got beaten a couple of times, pretty, but he's, that's against Micah Parsons, who's a beast. Trent Williams is getting beaten by Micah Parsons. So, right guard, right tackle, I think they're improving. I think they could be stronger, but I think they had a good game. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys did themselves no favors when they had Micah line up against Trent Williams. I think that was a big mistake. I think that if Micah had lined up against McKivitz more, it would have been worse. But I was surprised. I saw a stat that McKivitz had 3 pressures. I think Aaron Banks gave up 3 pressures, and Burford only gave up 1. And I don't know if Trent Williams gave up any. I'm trying to look that up, but I feel like the offensive line did pretty well. I mean, especially considering like DeMarcus Lawrence. So even if it wasn't Micah, DeMarcus Lawrence was over there, and he's been one of the higher rated defensive ends this season, especially in the last few weeks. He was up there in PFF. I think he was ranked even higher than Micah by PFF recently. So that's definitely good to see. We're not hearing anything about Brendel, so that's a really good thing. So yeah, I mean, considering how much trouble Burford obviously had the penalty, and that was one of my more impressive series of the game, where it's 3rd and 15. Brock throws it to Ayuk way down the left sideline, big first down, and it gets called back because of the Burford hold. And the next thing you know, Brock throws down the right side to Debo for 43 yards. So he converts back-to-back 3rd and 15s. Jimmy did that against the Rams, where there were actually real 3rd and 15s back-to-back. But this is pretty close to that. So yeah, I still have concerns about Burford and McKivitz, but I think it's safe to say that McKivitz is a better pass blocker than McGlinchey. We all kind of thought that might be the case, but I think that's played out here. Probably just not quite as good of a run blocker as McGlinchey. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm still cautious about it. For the Browns, I had looked up their depth chart. I've got that here. So yeah, I mentioned Zadarius Smith as one edge, and I had actually listed Myles Garrett as an edge, but they play a 3-4. So Myles Garrett is actually a defensive end. So they actually have. No, never mind. No, they play a 4-3 just like us. So they have Zadarius Smith on one edge, Myles Garrett the other, just like I thought. They have Shelby Harris, who's a right defensive tackle. So he used to be a Denver Bronco. He was with the Seahawks last season in the Russ Wilson trade. And then they have Dalvin Tomlinson from Minnesota Vikings, who's very good defensive tackle. So they have at least 3 out of 4 really strong defensive linemen, and Shelby Harris is no slouch. I'll just say that he's not, I would say, solid or strong, but he's probably a real good value is what I would say. Then they have JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who was one of my draft crushes a few years back, coming out of Notre Dame. He's kind of they have him at weak side linebacker, so kind of like Dre Greenlaw. Then they have Anthony Walker as their middle linebacker. And then they have Denzel Ward, who's a very good corner. Grant Delpit out of LSU, strong safety, one of the better safeties, at least rankings-wise recently. Juan Thornhill, who is from the Chiefs, has free safety. He's pretty good. And then Emerson Martin is a right cornerback. I don't know much about him. And their nickelback is Greg Newsom, who is also very good. I thought he was a Packer. Maybe they didn't extend him, and he ended up or maybe he got traded. I don't know, one or the other. But he was I'm pretty sure he was drafted out of Georgia to the Packers. So that defense, will test us maybe more than the Cowboys defense did, because the Cowboys defense clearly had issues against the run coming into this game, and I think they maybe overcompensated to stop that and made passing easier against them. Plus, they're missing Trayvon Diggs, who was one of the best cover corners in the league. So Never underestimate
So
that.
I'm just looking at the matchup at the moment, which you are probably what it ain't happening. But what other QB2 would you want over Sam? And please, no Trey. I agree, Randy. I prefer to keep Trey because of progression. Darnold is flat line, but if I had to choose another backup, Minshew. I like Minshew. Yes, I would rather Gardner Minshew over Sam Darnold. 100%. But just going back to the matchup, so yeah, the
Same
Browns,
here.
they're the number one. They're the number one D. They're 32nd in passing. They're 15th
Yeah.
in rushing. And 29th in the offense. What is up? I'm sorry, if we can't just stay healthy, we're going to make them birds look like chicks. 100% we are. 100% we are. You know, it'll be a tighter matchup.
Yeah, we look like the class of the league right now.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, Ted, but I get a little bit worried. I get a bit scared that I'm like one of these people, like everything's like running so, and I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen, man? Like, are we going to is Brock going to get injured which I've got to get that thinking out of my head. That's bad thinking. But, yeah. So Deshaun Watson's thrown 5 interceptions this year. So that's 1 per game. Less. He's only played 4 games. And the other thing too, Ted, to remember is they're coming off a bye. What do you think? Is that a good thing, bad thing? They're rested.
It's always that classic rest versus rust, but I think I think it helps with bumps and bruises more than it hurts with like continuity. So I think that's an advantage for the Browns, unless they were somehow 100% healthy going into the bye, which I doubt.
16 sacks allowed so far. This is the Browns.
That's
total yards.
They have a really good offensive line, so that's a surprising number.
So, well, this is the thing. So, you like what you said. Total yards allowed. Ours is 1423. Cleveland 881.
But that's through 4 games.
That's right. That's through 4 games. Passing yards allowed 500 through 4 games. That's 125 per game.
That's nothing. That's lockdown.
That's lockdown, man. Stidham. I like Stidham too. Points allowed 68 60. Fumbles recovered. Cleveland 2, SF 1. Interceptions, we've had 8. Cleveland's had 1. Sacks 13 12. And third down efficiency 40% and 22%. And they've got Nick Chubb. He's no slouch.
Do they? I thought he got injured.
Oh, well, is he back? Can you
Let me see what the depth chart says.
Okay. I think Dallas theory was
he's on IR.
He's on IR.
Their running back is Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. And I guess they traded for Kareem Hunt, or they signed Kareem Hunt. But yeah, I think Chubb's done for the year.
I think he's done for the season. That's right.
Close to it. Maybe a torn pec or something where he might come back, but it's not for sure that he'll be back. It was a knee injury. And it was just his MCL, but it's still the season, I think.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
2019 was our last matchup. Early October, same thing. October 7 it was. It's about the same. It's going to be a little bit very, very similar. 31.
That was with the Bosa flag plant dance on Baker.
That's right.
Baker. That's so classic. Steven has a good point. He says, I think if Dallas theory was Trent tips plays, Parsons might be able to have an advantage of play recognition, but it backfired. It's kind of interesting because some people I was talking to or listening to were saying that basically Dallas tipped the plays by like every time they were in shotgun, it was a throw, and every time Dak went under center, it was a run. So they're saying you can't do that with the San Francisco 49ers defense playing as well as we did. But let's get back to the Browns here. I didn't mean to just divert us, but good comments always deserve a little bit of diversion attention.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Parsons is very good, but still young and should listen to more than he speaks. Exactly. There's a saying that I like, Randy. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them accordingly.
That's right. In that order. And you can't listen with your mouth open is the other one.
No, you cannot. The other thing too is
Parsons
that
is very good, but still young and should listen more than he speaks. Okay, this is a good one because I had this queued up where Cowboys, here's Parsons' quote, "I don't think the 49ers are at a higher level than us. I think we're the same caliber of playoff team, same talent, same standards. I just feel like we need to reconsider ... and fix some things ... The score doesn't really show what happened out there." And I quickly just said, honest question, Micah, what color is the sky in your world? Because I say that a lot to really delusional people on Twitter when I just want to be like, you're just so full of, you know what, your eyes are brown, you know, like, come on, like, that's not what good leaders do. They don't sit there and just go, oh, we didn't really lose, you know. They say, hey, we lost. We'll play better, and you know, we'll get them next time, you know. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Was that post the game or was that prior?
Yeah,
Was that
was
post
that
the
was
game?
after the game. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to be. I mean, look, you know, I'm not one to judge, but you know, you've got it. This humility is a factor that I rate very highly in people. Can I just mention the time of possession per game? 26-3 for us, 25 for them. So
Interesting.
I like their coach, Stefanski.
Yeah, Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, I like their coach. I think
Last
he's
I knew,
smart.
they
I
were
think
running a Kyle similar type of offense too.
yeah, yeah. Um, but the thing is, Ted, the one concern for me in this game is obviously the D, but I think Watson is due for a game, don't you think?
Yes, and I think he's still a good quarterback. He still
I think he's a
scares
good
me.
quarterback too. I've never lost faith in you know, obviously, you know,
I think he was just very rusty after all that time off.
yeah, that's right. And he's going to get better and better and better and better. And we've all, you know, we do struggle. I mean, and one of the things in our favor yesterday, Ted, is that Dak cannot scramble anymore. He doesn't know how to like he's had too many injuries to his lower limbs, and so um, if he's throwing well and he's rushing well, he's going to give us some problems.
I think so too. And they don't have the greatest weapons. They have Amari Cooper, the former Cowboys receiver, who's
Yeah.
a very good route runner. He'll get some separation. He has good hands. He's good. He's not great. They have Donovan Peoples-Jones as their secondary receiver. I don't think he's that great, honestly. And then they have Elijah Moore, who used to be a Jet, if I am correct. And then for tight end, they have David Njoku, who I think he's been a Brown the whole time. He's decent. I don't think he's anything great. He can block though, and he can catch.
So far, Amari Cooper, 18 receptions for 259 yards. Elijah Moore, 17 receptions for 148.
Some guys do that in a game.
Well, Brandon Ayuk, what was his stats yesterday?
He had 148 against the Cards. 6 catches
Let's
for
have a look.
148 against the Cards. Yesterday was not as much because of that penalty. Took away the big one down the left sideline.
Yeah, he had 58 yesterday. Kittle 67, Samuel 55.
But even Jennings had a nice big one too.
Who do you think had more rushing? Sorry, just go back. Who do you think had more rushing yesterday, McCaffrey or Mason?
I mean, I know Mason had way more yards per carry. It was like 2.7 compared to 6.9. So I'm guessing Mason had more total yards too then.
Yeah, 69 versus 51. He was good, Mason, yesterday. He looked He did a lot of the sled work, Christian, yesterday, which concerns me. That's something that I think going forward, what are we, I think he used Jordan Mason really well. I think he used Debo really well in the backfield as well. But yeah, CMC wasn't as effective. 2.68 yards per carry.
Steven says one of the biggest weapons Browns have is Amari Cooper. His toe touch sideline catches, probably the best in the league. But work is unsure if Watson will start. We might face DTR. Well, Dorian Thompson Robinson out of UCLA, he's not bad either, though.
He's
For a
good.
rookie. He's definitely mobile. That's for sure. Probably more mobile
Yeah.
than Watson at this point.
So what's wrong with Steve? If you don't mind, what's wrong with Watson? Is he? What sort of injury? Is it a concussion? Is it limb? I don't know. I thought he was playing.
Randy's saying he always thought our toughest games were Cleveland and Jags.
Yeah, especially with what the Jags just did.
The Jags just beat the Bills. That's definitely scary.
Yeah. Yeah, they have DTR. So I wonder what's happened here with our man.
Doesn't say anything on our lad. That's the depth chart. Real quick, while you're looking that up, I'll do a quick commercial break. I've got a new sponsor for the show called the Travelstead Group. They're retail and hospitality logistics, essentially. So transportation and warehousing for brick and mortar, fixed furniture and equipment, that's FFE, operating system supplies and equipment, that's OSE, new store openings, rollouts, relocations, decommissions, from the first mile to the final mile and everywhere in between. Travelstead has you covered. Let us know how we can help via air, ocean, and land. Closed loop solutions for retail and hospitality. Nick and Henry are great folks there, and all their support is here in the U.S. And that's the type of business where things go wrong all the time. There's always fine tuning that needs to be done, and moves and relocations and store setups. And it's always nice to know that people you're talking to are here. They understand your problems, not and God knows where, and have no clue what the heck you're talking about. So their website is in the description for the show, my YouTube about page, my Twitter bio, also Facebook and Instagram if you follow me there. So check them out. Check out the video. It's obviously business to business, but if you're in retail or hospitality and you need someone behind the scenes to help you get things done, check out the Travelstead Group and tell them Ted sent you. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Ted, can you just give me 5 minutes for once?
Yeah, take your time. Take your time.
All right. I just got to do one.
Nancy said, yeah, do what you got to do. Nancy said, what time did the show start? And Nancy, we start every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific. I may need to update my YouTube about page. Let me unmute him here real quick. Maybe I can do that.
Yeah.
And I'll remove him real quick. There we go. And Brand. So while Pete steps away, we can still chat here. We start every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, Nancy. And like I said, I'll update my YouTube about page if that's. It certainly doesn't have the show name in there yet, which is the I voted for Pedro riff on Napoleon Dynamite for people who like that show. Thought about doing something with Uncle Rico, but Ted Rico just seemed like too much of a stretch. Oh, and here's Pete. He's back.
Sorry, guys. I had
real life first.
Had to take, yeah.
Real life first. Don't you worry about it. We can always cover while you're gone. So,
thank you.
So still dealing with the shoulder injury.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I just saw that Skavanski he didn't practice this morning on Monday's practice. But yeah, Stefanski is saying he'll be out there as soon as he's functionally ready. So you would have to think DTR is probably the guy that we'll be facing.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if he's back by Wednesday or well, probably by Wednesday, you probably need a couple practices, and then they probably fly out. Well, I don't know. Oh no, they're not flying out anywhere.
No, they're
So,
not going anywhere. We
so
just
they
had 3
probably have
games in a row.
practice straight through, and then they'll walk through Friday would be kind of normal. So I don't know if he practices by Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see. But yeah, no, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I think I'd rather face DTR, even though he's more mobile. I trust Deshaun Watson more to be able to pick a defense apart. So we'll see what happens there.
So
Something to watch.
we go.
Thanks, Randy.
Randy, he's got the
He's got the bars.
Well, he's got the cultural. He's got the postmodern cultural references. I like it.
Unlike me.
So do you think we'll stay? Because we got Minnesota after that, right?
Yeah, we've got the Browns, then the Vikings, then the Bengals, then we have our bye week 9. Then we have the Jags.
The Greenbrier. You think we'll stay at the Greenbrier
for the Jaguars? Probably.
No, I mean so we've got the Browns, we've got the Vikings.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because the Vikings are Central Time. Yeah, maybe that would make sense.
I can't see them flying back and forth. Would be
except for the Vikings is a night game.
Yeah, well, that's a Monday night game.
Yeah, so then there's no need to stay acclimated.
Right.
So no, I don't think so. Then
1-4 the Vikings. Oh my god.
Well, they got no defense. No. John Jay from 49ers Ultimate Report in the house says, "What's up, 49ers faithful?" Check out his channel, everyone. Says, "What's up, 49ers faithful? 49ers defeated Cowboys 42-10 and are 5-0. Oh yeah,
best start since 2019. I always think about that New Orleans game that we played.
Oh man, you know why I think about it? Because Richburg, our center, went down, and that kind of like spelled it was the beginning of the end for us. When Garland was okay, but Richburg was the answer, and he tore his patellar tendon, and that was sort of the end of our Richburg going down, and then also Blair and DJ Jones already being injured before that. A lot of our best defensive line depth was injured. Those two things killed us, I thought, in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And well, I thought there was, and I'm just going back to, I'm just thinking about parts of the game that I thought that Dre was pretty. Yeah, so am I, Randy. There was a section where Dre Greenlaw was again pretty lucky not to get cited. Did you notice that? To get the 15-yard penalty?
Yeah, I tweeted it out. I said, "Careful, Dre.
Oh my
Be careful." Because he gets so many of those reputation fouls, and that one wasn't reputation. That was like I'm not saying he deserved it, but it was like definitely on the borderline. Like I wouldn't have been super pissed if he had gotten flagged for that. So
no, that's right.
Yeah, no, I definitely tweeted that out. Live tweeted that during the game. John Jay's giving Randy some love, T-Rex love. John Jay fighting T-Rex. Just hopefully it's not boxing, because they got those little T-Rex arms. They're just not very powerful. But they got the big jaws for sure. Go ahead.
What do you got coming up, Ted?
Nothing else today. Tomorrow I have my usual show with Ryan from No Border Sports. So No BS Ted. I forget whose channel it's on this week, but it'll be on both channels. Whoever's hosting, it doesn't really matter. And then, Wednesdays I've got my usual First and Ted with Aaron Labigan from 49ers First Takes. And Thursday I have a special 10 a.m. show with Ryan G. Hensley. So I got both Ryans on this week, Ryan from No Border Sports and Ryan G. Hensley. And then Friday, the usual Balling with Bash and Ted at 3. So got
Yeah.
lucky enough to have 4 regular shows during the week with
But-
you, Ryan, Aaron, and Bash. It's awesome. Love it.
So, and what's your what? So I think we'll beat the Browns. You think it'll be a closer game than?
Absolutely closer. Yeah, I think they have a legit defense. I think they have a good run game. But run game isn't really our weakness, is it? Though it's passing. So I'd be surprised if we lost. But it is in Cleveland, and it is early, and they try and discount the importance of those early games on the body clock. But it does. If you're, you can try to go to bed early and get up early a few days beforehand, but
Mm,
it takes like a full week to acclimate to that early time zone. That's like why you said, like, when we stay at the Green Bar, maybe we'll go out there this week. I don't know. I don't think
this
so.
is
I haven't
why.
heard that. I haven't
When
heard that though.
do you
They'd be
know?
leaving today or something, probably.
Well, that's what I was going to say. When are they going to head over?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they are. I think they only do it when it's back-to-back games back there.
Right, but when do you think they'll leave for Cleveland?
Oh, Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, Saturday morning, Saturday midday. Yeah.
I thought they might leave like Friday and try and get at least a couple of days of acclimation.
Now Friday's a walkthrough usually here.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe they'll go right after the walkthrough. I don't know. Yeah, that's possible. I mean, even one night I think it would help. It helps just to even have one early morning there, getting up early.
yeah.
It helps.
That's what I think. That's what I think. Um, anything else?
No, I can't really think of anything else. I think we've covered most of it. I mean, just to recap, I've apologized to Brock Purdy, called him a franchise quarterback, said I was wrong, no qualifiers. We're both ready to crown him as a franchise QB for the 49ers. Neither one of us are saying like top 5, elite, better than Mahomes or Josh Allen, but we are saying he could get there. He's been improving. There's no signs that he's stopped improving. So there's no reason that Brock Purdy can't be an elite quarterback. It's just difficult given his limitations. But so far, man, I mean, just like Stephen was saying, the way he's just layering those throws over defenders right into the breadbasket and some really nice deep throws. It's exactly what we've been wanting to see. I would love to be able to see him do that without stepping into it or, off platform, but you can't have everything you want. And man, Brock Purdy is everything we need right now. So let's hope that continues. And yeah, I'll just say thanks everybody, and thank you, Pedro, as always, on our inaugural show, the I Voted for Pedro show, coming to you every Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be here breaking it down and getting ready for the next game of the week.
All right. Thanks, Ted. Really appreciate you setting this up. Thanks, Randy, again for the show title. Nice to meet Steve. And yeah, let's let's do these Browns. Yeah, let's get them. Let's get another dub.
I think we will. I think it'll be a lot closer, but I think we'll get it. And I'll just say peace and go Niners.
Going on us.